Hello, how are you doing out there in YouTube land and whoever else may be watching my channel? This is one of my first videos. It is in response to the Handsome Liberals video Uber ripoff warning. His video takes part in Las Vegas, talking about how Uber and Lyft are ripping off their drivers again. A little bit of background about me is I am a disabled person. I was in the cab industry in the Atlanta area for over 20 years. Um, Anyways, people, I got out of the cab business in 2010 as Uber and Lyft were coming into Atlanta. I became disabled and lost my leg. Um, and I have been a wheelchair advocate ever since then. Now, in response to the Handsome Liberals video Uber ripoff alert, the lady in his video saying that she had to pay $200 in dues to Uber or Lyft, not sure which one she was paying them to because I do not have access to her email to question her. But back in the olden days when there were only taxi cabs around and gypsy cabs, you had to pay a company X amount of dollars per week or per day or per month, depending on the area you worked in, to operate a taxi cab or a vehicle for hire, which is what Uber and Lyft are. They are vehicles for hire. No matter which way you cut it with the mustard, they're still vehicles for hire. And their ways now, according to that young lady, is she's paying $200 a week to operate a vehicle, plus paying part of her rides that she gets, splitting it with Uber and Lyft, which means that she's making $200 less a week than she was a month ago, or 2 months ago, or whenever that program started. I've seen all over the internet about Uber and Lyft and all the problems they have caused. Drivers here in Atlanta used to get $2.50 per mile when they were operating off of a metered vehicle. A meter is the device that tells you how much you're charging per mile per hour. And yes, Atlanta was pretty high at $2.50 a mile, $21 an hour wait time. And I think it had a $10 minimum at the time also. So you knew if you got a short trip, you were making at least $10 off of it. But you had to pay the company X amount of dollars per day, per week, per month, depending on the company you're with. And that's the way most of the country operated, is you paid the company X amount of dollars per week, per month, per day to operate their vehicle. That's why when Uber and Lyft showed up, oh, anybody can be a driver now. Anybody that has a car or anybody that wants to rent a car from Uber and Lyft. And therefore, boom, you got all these thousands of people doing it part-time. And then a lot of people quit their jobs and became full-time drivers. And probably the money was good back in those early days. But now, I can see Uber's pulling that trick to those Las Vegas drivers, that they have to pay stand dues or company dues, plus X amount of dollars taken from the fare, as we call it here in Atlanta. Instead of a ride, we call them fares. But anyways, I believe that's what the lady is talking about. It's called company dues. And if I was a driver in Las Vegas, I would quit. Having to pay $200 per week and then X amount of dollars per fare to the company, and all they are is an app, and I own all the risk. I have to provide my insurance, my car, my gas, my oil, all repairs I'm responsible for the vehicle. It's just no way anybody can really make a living that way. So yeah, I do support the February 14th blockade. And really it should be called a blockade because, well, that's what people are going to be doing. Is they're going to be boycotting and blockading on February 14th. But, sir, I have heard of that. I'm an old driver from the Atlanta area. Yes, technically I can go and use my personal car to drive for Uber and Lyft, but with everything that's been going on, I'm not going to risk putting my car out there and driving for Uber and Lyft. And yeah, I do have a wheelchair accessible van. And I will probably make bukus of money, but I'm not gonna split it with Uber. So there you go, Uber. You made another fuck up. Lyft, you're making another fuck up. And I'm going to be lobbying in the state capitol this year, in downtown Atlanta and the Georgia Capitol. And then I'm going to be lobbying U.S. senators and congressmen on a new bill that I will tell you about later. Thank you for your time and your patience.